going on, you guys? This is about to go down. Okay? We're about to go down. We're about to accomplish a ton of stuff, and we're going to do it together. So, the first thing about this training and why this training is important is I need us to step away from constantly needing to figure out more things that we need to do with our fitness goals. Like, oh, well, we need to add CMOS and we got to, go to spin and then also go to yoga and then walk and then weightlift and then go to F45 and then try keto and then try intermittent fasting and then try. We need to stop. We need to stop. We do not need any more fitness tips. What we need are strategies. And the strategies that we need are the strategies that will continue to keep going after you've gotten to your goal. So the goal, when you reach your goal, the goal doesn't stop going, right? You're not, well, you shouldn't. I know that a lot of people end up being like, I got to my goal, so like I'm done now. And like that's when people start to revert back to their old habits. And that's when people start to not get the results that they want, right? So when people, it's like, oh, Susie lost 55 pounds and she did it in X amount of time, and say it took her 4 months to lose it or whatever, a half a year or whatever it is. And then Susie lost 55 pounds. But then as soon as Susie had a potato chip, and then she had all of the potato chips, and then she went out to dinner with friends and her spouse and this and that, she gained it all back. So then she's looking for more tips. She's looking for more ways to figure out how to, she has to go and sign up for a 30-day challenge where she eats lettuce and egg whites every day. It's like, no, we need to stop trying to figure out what fitness tips are and start doing strategies. So what we're going to be doing in this training today is going over strategies. So my strategy and what I do are 3 strategies. We tackle the food together. I know that's backwards, but it's fine. Um, Food is important. You need food in order for you to survive, right? You can't just not eat food. And when people tell me that they have 100 calories a day, I want, I want, I want, I just want to like go to their home, wherever they live, Dubai, Australia, Massachusetts, wherever. I want to go to their home and shake them, because this is not helpful. You cannot maintain 1,000 calories a day for the rest of your life. Like you cannot. Like you can't just be like, oh yeah, like I started doing 1,000 calories a day or less, and you know I've been able to do it, and it's been 20 years now. No, you're going to start to deteriorate. You're going to start having headaches. You're going to start being dehydrated, probably. You're going to start being hangry. So you're going to lose friendships and you're going to lose relationships with family members. Like you're going to be hungry. There's no need for you to be eating less than or 1,000 calories or less a day. It's just not helpful. It's not helpful. It's not strategic. And it's going to end up you being like, and now I just binge ate 16 pizzas with my friends because I've been depriving myself, and there's no way you can get enough nutrients in the day when you do stuff like that. So we need to stop with 1,000 calorie diets for lifetime long strategies, right? The next thing is workouts. Workouts are important. Why are workouts important? Because it's not just about getting skinny, losing weight. If that's your primary goal, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you go and try to envision your life in the forward direction, say you're in your 30s, 40s, 20s, whatever it is, and you're looking at workouts as like a way for you to get skinny, that's fine. But we have to then look even further than the skinny line. We got to look for like life in general. So meaning like when you're 70, when you're 80 years old, workouts are going to be important because workouts help with being able to continue to stay active into your elderly years, right? So when you think about workouts, weightlifting is important. Weight, check. We want to check that off. Weights. Cardio is important. Cardio should not be the only thing that you do. So cardio, we'll do a check mark, but we'll also do a minus. And I put a minus there because it's like we want to make sure that your cardio isn't your only thing that you're doing, right? Because it's and like same thing with weights. You can put a thing right here too. Like a lot of people spend just all of their time weightlifting. So what does that do? It decreases your range of motion for other things, like me being in the CrossFit world. And I see a lot of, and I'm going to generalize, but I see a lot of men come in from just doing constant bro sessions from the time they were 15 until they're 35. And so now they can't even get their arm to come next to their ear. This is their range of motion. Their range of motion is here. And so they can't really get their arm up because they've been focusing on just weightlifting. So now their range of motion now is limited because of what they've done or what they haven't done. And so then they usually have less cardiovascular health because they don't do a lot of weights. So then the same thing for the opposite of way of cardio is like people constantly do cardio, you start to diminish your muscle mass, right? So then you're like, oh, I have cellulite or my legs jiggle or whatever because you're not lifting weights. Weights also helps with bone density, which then goes back to my original statement about health and wellness for when you're old. You got to do cardio because it helps with heart health. We got to lift weights because it helps with bone density. But then combined with those two, you end up getting closer to your aesthetic goal of like wanting to look a certain way. So you add both of those together, weightlifting and cardio, then you have your ultimate goal. Now, you can also start to add in HIIT if you like. So now you have a combination of weight training and cardio combined. But then it's like, there isn't like a fancy workout that's going to be the best or the end all be all of what you want out of your fitness. There's no like formula. The formula that works as far as your workouts is what is your goal. If your goal is to just be healthy, then yeah, you can toggle between all three. You can go to a HIIT gym and then you can do a day of doing cardio stuff like going for hikes, going for a run, riding your bike around the town, so on and so forth. Weight training, you can have, you can do a schedule of like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do weight training, and then you do HIIT workouts on Tuesday, Thursdays, and then Saturdays you do primarily cardio stuff. You can work on that regime or regimen. I shouldn't say regime. And it was funny because I was, side note, like I remember Chelsea Handler was just recently talking about people calling regime, and that's the reason why I said it. I've never used that word before for a regimen. So back to the regimen, you can go off of that regimen, or you can even do calisthenics. Calisthenics is really awesome form of weightlifting, and you're using your body to lift weights. So if you want to be a bodybuilder, then you have to do a certain game plan or a certain way of getting to or certain protocol to get you to the end goal, right? If your goal is to be healthy, then you can subscribe to that way of your fitness. At the end of the day, this is going to work better if this is involved. If you have no this, then this means nothing. Like you cannot work out a bad diet. Everyone has been saying that. That is a fitness tip that you guys refuse. And I'm not saying you guys, and I don't want to be like, I never said that. As a collective, non-professional fitness person, people for years and decades and centuries think like, if I just work out for 45 million trillion hours, I will get the aesthetic goal that I want. And that's just not true. We have to curb this to make this be helpful, because you can lose weight without this. You can. It's been done. Because the way that you gain weight or you become unhealthy is because of this. You become unhealthy because of this. You become unhealthy, obviously, if you're not active, also, too, if you're not even going for walks or anything like that. But you gain weight and your health diminishes because of this. So if you don't change this and this, then it's not going to work. And the third part is mindset. So if we don't want to do these two things, we have to curb our mindset. We have to figure out what is the problem up here that is stopping me from doing these two things. So if you have a negative mindset, these two things are just like, we could just erase them off the board, right? If you have a positive mindset, so go burnt, positive, then you'll end up having, even the days when you don't want to train or you don't want to meal prep or you don't want to get certain things done, because you have more of a positive outlook or a positive mindset, and you tackle the traumas that you might have from childhood, you know, going through a breakup, getting laid off, all those things. Like, you can go in, if you have a positive outlook, you can then change your attitude, which then will help in these two regards. Okay, so if you don't have a positive outlook, you're not going to go to the gym, or you're not going to have a successful workout while you're at the gym. You're going to be like, this is stupid, I don't want to be here. And then you're going to be like, now I'm going to go have, 14 slices of pizza. Now, when it goes back to food, having a great understanding of macros for your food will allow you to not ever be in a place where you're going to be binge eating. And I don't mean binge eating like you have an eating disorder, because that's something totally different. And I don't want to make it seem like, if you have issues with eating, if you have an eating disorder, that I'm making it so like I'm diminishing your issues with having an eating disorder. And more so talking about, like, if you think like this is going to work, like we talked about, then you end up binging and you're like, oh my God, it's my friend's birthday and we're going to go to this restaurant and I've been wanting to go there forever. Now you're over here eating off of everyone's plate and you're ordering massive amount of food. And now you've just had probably more in that one sitting than you did all day. So if we practice a macronutrient diet, sorry, they're doing construction above my apartment. So if you hear that noise, my apologies. But if we do macronutrients and we specifically target your macronutrients for you personally and say, you need to have X amount of carbs, X amount of fats, X amount of protein, then equals goals. The sun is. Then equals goal. Oh, still didn't work. Still didn't work. Seriously? There we go. Then equals goals. So if we do not figure out the amount of carbs, proteins, and fats that you need, then this doesn't matter, these don't matter, and then you're going to be even more annoyed with your mindset. And you're going to say, F this. I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm giving up being on a diet. I'm just going to go and live my life and like blah, 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 like whatever it is that your mindset is telling you, the negative thoughts are coming into your brain. Then you don't work out for 6 months. Or if you do work out, you're trying to do everything all at once because you're like, I'm just going to make my workout fuel everything. And I'm not going to be paying attention to anything that I'm eating because I'm just going to work it out. It's like, it's not going to work. But if you were to get customized macros, which is what you should be doing anyways, when you do macros, you should be doing macros that are tailored to you, tailored to Cassandra, tailored to Joshua, tailored to Jessica, whoever. Everybody has different sets of macros because everyone has different goals. Like you might be Josh and Josh might want to gain a bunch of muscle, right? Josh might be 25 years old and weighs 115 pounds. And I'm not making fun of Josh. It's more so like, that's kind of unreal and not unrealistic, but it's like, I'm pushing it out there. So Josh is, 25 years old. He weighs 115 pounds and he doesn't want to weigh 115 pounds. He wants to weigh 150, 170, 200. Yes, that's going to take a long time. But if he has custom macros to Joshua, Joshua will get to said goal because he is prioritizing his protein, his fats, his carbs. He's also getting workouts in that are geared towards helping him and assisting him with his food. So he's being like, oh, well, I need X amount of protein. And then, I'm going to go to the gym and primarily focus on legs today or back or whatever. And he's going to start to see an increase of his own strength based off of the foods that he's eating. So there's that. If you're Jessica, and if your name is Jessica and you're in the group, I'm not talking about you that's just a name that came in my head. So if you're Jessica, and same thing, Jessica is, 5'6" and she weighs 125 pounds and she doesn't feel confident in weighing that small. And yes, those people exist. We can go change the trajectory of her protein, carbs, and fats. What are her workout goals? Like, what does she want to accomplish? We take those workout goals on top of the activity that you have during the day, and we customize your macros based off of that. If you are Sally and you are trying to lose 40 pounds, you are going to have a different set of macros than Jessica, because Jessica's trying to gain weight. Jessica's been in the gym, maybe was a track athlete and has the stamina and but everything that she does, she ends up losing more weight, right? So Sally is the opposite. Sally wants to lose 40 pounds, feels like, was doing the 1,000 a day calorie thingy, but it wasn't really working out because all she would end up doing was eating more than she was supposed to by the end of the day. And nothing seems to work. She's tried Weight Watchers. She's tried Nutrisystem. She's tried the 1,000 calorie a day. She's tried intermittent fasting. She tried keto. She tried everything. If we prioritize our protein, carbs, and fats, she can still have the bagel in the morning, and she can still have a slice of pizza at night, and she can have pasta for lunch, and she can do all those things just like Jessica. We're giving Jessica more food because Jessica's goal is different than Sally's. But Sally will start to see the transition of her body change when her macros are based off of what she needs. And then we can add in the weight training, the cardio, the HIIT style workouts. And then she can start to see that she doesn't have to be at the gym for 2.5 hours, that she can get in a 45-minute workout and then, continue to be active throughout the day, like going for walks. Like I try to go for at least 2 walks a day. Why do I do that? To make sure that my activity level is still up there. If you are a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a server at a restaurant, you have a lot of activity because you're walking around all day. And then on top of working out and then on top of doing your macros, you start seeing results like this. If you are somebody who has a desk job and you don't do anything besides the 45-minute workout in your home, and you don't go for walks and you're not active, this is going to be a little harder, but then we decrease the amount of food that you need as far as like what your activity level is. But we are making sure we know what your activity level is. We're not just basing it off of like, oh, yeah, just have this much. We need to know. So this is the strategy that I do with my clients. This is exactly what I do. We work on food. We prioritize your macros. If we need to adjust the macros, we adjust them. If your activity level is increasing and you are more hungry, then we give you more macros. If you start to feel like you're in a plateau, which is totally normal to be in a plateau, but you shouldn't be in a plateau for 6 months, a year, 2 years. That doesn't make any sense. When someone says to me, oh, I've lost 10 pounds in the last 6 months. No, unless if you have 40 plus pounds, 20 plus pounds, let's just even say 10 plus pounds you have to lose. If it took you a whole year to do that, you are doing it wrong. Period. 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 Exclamation point. So if it's taking you 6 months to a year to 2 years to lose 5 pounds, like, oh yeah, I've talked to people so many times and they're like, yeah, I lost 5 pounds. I'm like, oh, well, when was that? And I'm like, oh, it was in February. I'm like, we are in September. You should have already lost 2 pounds in the first 2 weeks. Like it's not that complicated. And that's why I say stop looking at fitness tips, because fitness tips are not going to do anything. This is going to do something. Curbing your food to figure out how to get out of the plateau. And that's what I do with you, is figuring out, oh, you're in a plateau. You've been in a plateau for 2 weeks. Cool. We're adjusting. Period. It's not like, oh, well, let's just better hope for next week. No, adjusting, moving on. Next chapter. Moving on. Then workouts. Get your butt in the gym. Or if you have a gym at home or weights or whatever it is, let's customize the workouts for your workouts. Customize your workouts for your workouts. Customize your workouts for the food that's already going in there. And then let's fix the mindset and stop thinking about the dumb shit that you've done. And this isn't an attack on you. The dumb shit that's out there being like, you got to make sure you have tea when you wake up in the morning because that's going to flush out your system. Stop. Never one time have I ever been like, oh, I got to have tea, or I got to have this skinny tea, or I got to have my sea moss, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with sea moss and like gut health and like anything like that, but weight loss and weight gain and changing your body composition is not all this bullshit. It is these 3 things. Period. Okay? So this is the primary thing I wanted to talk about in the training today. And you've done great that you're still here and you're watching. And I appreciate you being here and watching this video because I want to change your life for the long term. I do not care about doing 30-day challenges. Does 30 days help you increase your mindset ability to have momentum and motivation? Sure, but does your motivation doesn't change until you start to become disciplined. And so if you do something for 30 days, like that's cool, but are you now disciplined for your lifestyle? Probably, most likely not, because you're like, oh, I lost the weight. And then like 2 months later, you gained it back, maybe half of it, right? So I'm trying to teach you lifestyle changes to change your lifestyle. So then you're not like, oh, I got to sign up for this $69.95 training thing that everybody's doing online. No, I'm changing your whole entire life. Your whole entire life. Your whole entire life. Your perspective on food, your perspective on carbohydrates, your perspective on protein intake, your perspective on what is a fat and what is not a fat, what is a great workout, when you should rest, what are you doing to treat your mindset, and then holding you accountable to that. So then you can continue to repeat this when you are 75. So, all to say, if you do not have these 3 things, then if you have these 2 things and not in a shitty mindset, we're gonna go back to the first thing, which was that we're not seeing success. If you have a great mindset, but your food is trash and like you're overeating and you don't know what the problem is because you're eating so healthy all the time. I don't give a shit if you like to eat healthy all the time. I really don't. Because you eating healthy has not gotten you results. And you need to raise your hand if you're sitting here being like, I have quinoa and raw vegetables and I make sure that, I use organic things and blah, blah. I love all those things and I use all those things too. But if you cannot measure it, like not like physically measure it, but if you can't sit here and tell me how much you've eaten today, it does not matter at all that you ate healthy. It does not. It doesn't make you feel anything because you still feel full. You still feel like, man, I don't feel like anything's happening. So it does not matter that you're eating healthy or you're having smoothies and green juices and this and that and all of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You need to be able to measure it. These two things right here and this too is all science. So you have the neuroscience for the brain. So workouts is science, biochemistry, or biomechanics, I should say. How to move your body through space. And then food chemistry. It's all measurable. It's all, you can track every single moment of this and be like, oh, I got to the goal. But if you're just sitting there being like, oh, I have salads and I have egg whites and I have tofu and like I eat all the things and I'm like, I make sure. No, because you're doing all that and you still haven't seen any results. So I offer you a 20-minute free fitness audit call. On the call, all we're going to be doing is talking about what you've been doing, why it hasn't worked. I'm going to tell you why it hasn't worked. Why it hasn't worked. And try to give you a plan or a game plan, like give you a game plan on how to attack it. Nothing is for sale. I am not going to sell you anything on the call. I just want to audit what you are doing. Because if you are sitting here trying to figure out why it is not working, we need to sit down and have a conversation. Okay? So 20 minutes, just an audit, just to see what you're doing, what you've tried, and why. I will tell you why it hasn't worked. Okay? And it could be everything under the sun, like under the sun, under the sun, under the sun. Name that tune. Okay? So if you would like a 20-minute call, 20-minute audit, and we can audit your food, we can even do it on Zoom and you can show me everything you need to show me. So I can tell you why it's not working and what we need to do. I want you to comment in the link or in the comments that you would like a 20-minute call. Say game plan call in the comments. And let's get it. Let's get this, because there's no reason why you shouldn't be having any results. There's no reason. It's not your body type. It's not your age. It isn't your environment. Well, it could be your environment of this, but not like your physical, like wherever you are in the world. It's not because you're vegan or non-vegan. It's not because you need to start eating meat again if you are vegan. It doesn't mean that you have to start eating eggs again. It doesn't mean anything. Like it does, like you could be doing the same exact thing as a meat eater, as a vegan, as a pescatarian. It's all the same. It's what you choose. I choose to be vegan just because of my own moral compass, but you can do the same thing as a meat eater and get the same exact results. So 20-minute game plan call, comment game plan in the comments, and let's freaking do this. Have a good day.